This is Sheila, and I'm back with Handbook for the New Paradigm. We're in volume 3, Becoming. We are also, if you're joining me in the book, page 335, transmission number 33. This is the sequential period of time that is the leading edge of the chaos that has been mentioned many times in these messages. I want to point out here again, these messages were uh, channeled. The most recent time period that this points to for me is 2003. That could be the newest of these because this book was published in 2018, but um, it's my understanding from someone who ran across these many, many, many years ago. These were actually emailed to people before they were ever put into a book. The pattern of existence, as it has been known on the planet in recent millennium, has begun to disintegrate. As in all cases of disintegration, portions of the coagulated or manifested energy do not dissolve, but tend to break into pieces that become destructive to the portion that remains intact. Wow, don't we see that on the world stage in a huge way? I mean, today is August 21st, 2024. Wow. In order to understand this, think of energy in a formation that resembles a lovely snowflake. Picture it as made of a sturdy material and see in your mind's eye portions of it breaking into pieces and being tossed about and causing other portions of the pattern to break down from the impact. Since all manifestation consists of solidified energy, this is a reasonable comparison. Once energy is solidified, it does not return to its origin, and in parentheses here, light/thought, without being broken down by the same creational process in reverse. However, that process is not an assignment for this ground crew. The larger picture that encompasses the totality of Earth and its inhabitants transcending the currently planned future contains many separate foci in order to bring the new paradigm of experience into being. This, for me, is saying very specifically, follow what you're drawn to because therein lies your portion of the mission. And each one's method for getting there is unique to that individual. That's what I hear in that statement. Because I'm going to read it again. The larger picture that encompasses the totality of Earth and its inhabitants transcending the currently planned future contains many separate foci in order to bring the new paradigm of existence into being. It is only necessary that as much understanding of the process as it is possible to explain and is helpful be included. It is more important that each segment of the whole focus on the portion that is their agreed upon assignment. And I can't do that as long as I'm pointing the finger out there. Now, I look out there for clues as to what I'm to follow in here. That's how I figure out the discernment piece. And I think that's what each of us is actually in the process of doing. While all are curious about what the big picture looks like, it would indeed be impossible to explain. It's new, for one thing. That's what I keep reminding myself. If it's going to be new, then how does one know what to look for? And if one fixates on something that one already knows, then that's not new. It is to be remembered that as thought thinks, nuances of change can cause major differences in outcomes. Because free will is a major component in the process of creation and allows for diversity within wholeness, the mediating factor within the working of the laws of the universe is the ability for thought to think within the whole. In other words, thought thinking can consider all nuances of change throughout the whole and compensate for effects that the finite mind has no way of considering. Wow, when I feel into that, that feels so huge. It is the wisdom that evolving consciousness strives to emulate. The laws of the universe are totally compatible and cooperative. When the laws are invoked and intent and purpose are in cooperation with them, there are never disagreements or discussions as to what, how, or which method or approach is right. It is simply done in the most advantageous way. There is no ego involvement, as is present in situations of less evolved thought processes. It is these ideals that are sought in the dimensional progress of evolving consciousness. As these are mastered, each progressive life experience provides for new and different challenges to be lived into wisdom. I can see so very clearly that had I not, wow, I see how my own personal path has been laid out and how it's been perfect because had this book, which was introduced to me by one of you, one of my viewers, sent me a link to a free audio version of this book read by an AI. And it was so intriguing that read it in, just a couple of, I don't know, like 2 days, just sat down and just boof right through it, me and Lisa. I wouldn't have been ready for this book, for these messages. Yeah, this book that I'm reading now came into my purview several years ago, but I wasn't drawn to it. I knew to save it it was in my field, but I didn't have that oomph, that feeling like I'm telling you that when this one came in, I knew immediately that I had to read it. And immediately upon reading it with Lisa, I knew I had to record it. So there's something to following only what one is drawn to and doing that first and not questioning anything, because I see that wisdom now, how thought thinking within itself, if I had forced myself instead of just allowing, I wouldn't have been ready for this information. So very interesting to realize that. Um, There is no ego involvement as is present in situations of less involved thought processes. It is these ideals that are sought in the dimensional progress of evolving consciousness. As these are mastered, each progressive life experience provides for new and different challenges to be lived into wisdom. Presence on planet Earth in these times is not and will not be lacking in challenges. No, that's true. Opportunities to live challenging experiences into wisdom will abound. Those who can focus their intent and purpose to take advantage of these opportunities will benefit greatly. That is indeed a glib statement that in the moment has little meaning. However, if when others are in panic, one can, quote, keep his or her head clear and listen to the, quote, knowingness that is available to all that will listen within, decisive action will prevail in the moment. It is a matter of taking that second or two to listen, to feel what is the appropriate thing to do. That is what I find myself, you know, if we are so trained in this culture now to be immediate. So we have to allow ourselves a moment or two, in some cases, much longer, right? And we are worth that, to heed our own inner voice, more than worth that. It is a skill that is acquired by practice. That is very true, too, because that voice does not speak loudly. Applying it now in the small decisions that are made each day can provide practice. Much is done by mere habit. Oh boy, have I noticed that about myself. As the situation changes, those habitual actions or reactions may no longer be appropriate. It is important to begin to pay attention to the thoughts and feelings, especially those that reflect apprehension or concern, because if thought does think within itself, even when one is not sitting there ruminating over something, it's ruminating still all on its own very own as well. It is time to begin reprogramming the conscious awareness to be more and more active in moment to moment decisions, to do or not to do. That is the question to be asked within each conscious awareness. It is of utmost importance that these questions are asked of the individual self-awareness rather than asking others for their opinion. There's really nothing wrong with seeing what others think and feel about a situation. However, I will say this. For me personally, I like to hear where everyone is. But I also know that that is a dangerous slope for me because, and I feel for all of us, as I don't wish to be influenced by others either. But as a puzzle piece collector for myself, I like to, because in the idea of something new, it's been a habit of mine to just think that my way is the best way, the only way. And I'm retraining myself out of that. So being open to hearing every single thing and then making my own personal internal decisions about what I think and feel about it and the why, right? That's where those questions really come in handy to be asking myself. Only the individual is experiencing the decision and is in the situation. The decision may require action in brief moments. Through practice, confidence and trust with that inner knowing part of self will be built. And I can promise you that is a true statement because I've been doing that and I honestly feel like I trust myself more now than I ever have in my life. And I feel so much more empowered and connected to myself, centered. Becoming involved through commitment to the quote ground crew requires focus of intent and purpose. It also carries with it the advantage of connection to a flow of energy that is purposefully aligned with the universal laws and the flow of intelligent thought that supports creative expansion of thought into matter. Okay, so for me, I'm not sure if that's why this is brought forward here, but I know there's, there's a bit about being so dispersed around the planet and not in easy access to be together with others of like. But I feel like that's important in and of itself, and I've give to understand in many ways that when the time is right, all will be exactly as it's meant to be. So I don't have to fret about things like that. I used to worry about that, but that is the message that I keep getting, is that we know, we will feel if we tune into ourselves exactly the right thing to do in each moment as it presents itself. Um, this connection involves a balance of responsibility and compensation in direct proportion to contribution. It does not reward foolish input that endangers the outcome. Development of the quote feeling of appropriate words and actions is a prerequisite to wise participation. The major portion of the process will be accomplished by individual awareness and consciousness change, along with dedicated intent and purpose to create the desired new paradigm of experience. It is the focus on the intended outcome through, quote, knowing the desired outcome can manifest when participants are in harmony with the laws and truly desire, quote, the highest and best good for all humanity on planet Earth, end quote. It is to be expected that as the influence of this focus of intent to change the planned destiny of mankind begins to affect circumstances and situations, the usual method of destruction will be employed. That is to infiltrate and destroy from within the organization. However, there will be no organization to destroy, which is another reason why I feel the spread outness of it. It's a virtual vibratory connection and not an organization. It's so loose, nobody really knows who everybody else is. Everybody's working in concert, but they don't even really know it. It's a beautiful thing from what I feel like I'm witnessing. No doubt individuals will be, quote, removed from the focus, but there will be few, if any, records to indicate what individuals are responsible for the change taking place. Again, because nobody's really, I feel like, clued as to exactly what it is they're doing. If they're following their inner, then they're following their inner, and they may not even know why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, that's what I do a lot. Once the triggers change the conscious thinking process of those participating, that will be the only connection that can be made on a one-by-one basis. Meanwhile, the spread of the consciousness change will continue with its inevitable results. Thus, the purposeful intent to structure the change within the individual consciousness serves a dual purpose. I knew it. I could feel that. It increases the opportunity for individual evolvement and provides the vehicle for the advancement and transcendence of the planetary whole without the danger to life and limb that would be associated with the usual rebellion scenarios that have been repeated over and over to little or no avail, which is exactly why the whole protesting and resistance thing isn't working, doesn't work, won't work, can't work. It's a whole new paradigm. And being frustrated and upset at it, which I have I am still working with myself on, right? Um, because that thinking thinks within itself and just continues to do whatevs, right? um, the advantages are many, most of which are yet beyond the limited human mind to comprehend. And I feel that's a really true statement for us, myself included. That too will change, however, with the acceptance of self and planetary responsibility. The brain slash mind will activate to a greater and greater degree. I feel that to be a true statement as well. Though purposefully imposed, the limited brain capacity was held in place by the victim consciousness. That in turn was held in place by the desire to be rescued by a source outside the self and humanity as a whole. This further provides the understanding for the weekly programming lessons, stressing the need to ask for outside help in all areas of life, to turn over life to outside greater wisdom, and the media depiction of the constant stream of victim situations. Wow, yes, when you think about all of that and that those sorts of terms, it's from every quarter. We are taught not to trust ourselves on any sort of level because we're just not smart enough. We're just not bright enough, and doggone it, folks just don't like us. I mean, that's the way it really starts to look when you look around at the programming that we've all had from childhood. All is carefully coordinated to keep the victim consciousness firmly anchored within the mass consciousness. It is our purpose to change the mass consciousness to personal and planetary responsibility where it belongs. Wow. Well, that's the end of number 33, and I'm going to be doing number 34 right next. Mwah. Until we meet again, I hope that you will move towards that which will bring you the highest joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It is a matter of perspective. Just allow yourself a little perspective, a little time to see that there's always more than one way to see a thing. Till next time, be well, my friends.